Okay, and welcome to your 9th lesson. In this lesson will be about parameters, and yeah, it'd be easier if I show you than explain to it. So we have lemon part, we have the function, and we call the function right here. And let's say we want to make the function more useful. So I'm going to pass in the number 1, and we're going to type in number right there, and we're going to copy that and paste it there, and we're just going to get rid of that. So what I've done here is I call a function, and inside of this is something called a parameter, and a parameter is some way to give the function information. So I'm going to pass through the parameter of 1, so I'm giving it the integer 1, and number is equal to whatever gets passed into it. So in this case, when I call this function, number is equal to 1. So I'm going to change the lemon part's transparency to 1. So it's pretty simple. Now I can go ahead and do this. So I'm going to pass through a second parameter, and how you add more parameters is just by using the comma, and I'm going to put in number 2. I'm going to put a weight 2 in, and I'm going to copy this and change this one's transparency to the second number. So again, when I call the function, this number will be equal to 1, and this number will be equal to 0, or this variable will be equal to 0, and this variable will be equal to 1. So that's basically how it works. So if I go ahead and click run, becomes invisible. Well, actually I'm going to put a weight right here so that it doesn't happen instantly. You can actually see it happen. So there you go. That's basically how a parameter works. You can mess around with that, try whatever the hell you want. Yeah, so if I go ahead and do another weight 1, I'm going to copy this function, and I'm going to do 0.5 this time. So this time when I call the function, so this has already happened by the time it gets here. So when I call the function this time on line 14, number is going to be equal to 0.5 this time. So now number is 0.5, and number 2 is still 0. So, it gives you a way to kind of use a function for multiple things as long as the function is similar. So I won't have to create 2 separate functions. So if I click run, it becomes 1, back to 0, becomes 0.5, back to 0. I stopped it before it could go back to 0. I'm sorry. So that's how parameters work. So like I say, go mess around, do whatever you want. And you can pass in whatever value you want. You can do a boolean, you can do a string, or you can do an object value like lemon part. You can pass in an object, or hell, you can even do the transparency of lemon part, which is equal to 0. So basically this is passing in through the parameter of 0. So go ahead and test that, see what you can do. Adios.